Hello, everybody, and welcome into the first pitch with MVC baseball correspondent Shane Dennis. Shane, let's jump right into things this week. First of all, Missouri State, the league favorite, right now sitting at 3-0 in conference play, with a very strong pitching staff, obviously. Talk a little about what you've seen out of Missouri State so far this year.
Yeah, the prognosticators got it right. I mean, they knew that Nick Petrie was coming back, Cody Schumacher was coming back, and that's why they're picked to win the league. I don't see anything that's happened so far to prove that otherwise. They're, again, just as strong. Their coaching staff is still intact, and they've added Jonathan Harris, another stud in their front line. And you got two guys in the bullpen with Burgess and Gordon who are very good. And, you know, in a BB core era where the bats are deadened a little bit and the premium is put on pitching, they got a lot of it. And they also have Luke Voigt back, and Travis McCormick seems like he's been there for 10 years. So you've got some guys that are veterans all the way up and down that roster, and I don't see any way that Missouri State wouldn't be the favorite moving from here forward too.
All right, and on that note, we look at Creighton this year so far. They've definitely improved offensively, hitting around 300. I looked up the stats. They're now sitting at 298 batting average as a team. Off to a 2-1 start, and they also have the win at the beginning of the year against Dallas Baptist they've picked up.
Well, I think they're the big surprise in the league. They're 15-6, and you could always count on them to have starting pitching, a developed bullpen with defined roles, and they're very deep there. But they usually had to pitch and play defense to beat you. The defense is still there, but as you mentioned, their offense is much improved too. They got Reagan Fowler, Jake Peter, and Kevin Lamb all flirting with 400 right now. And if they hit at all, you would think that they would really contend at the upper half of the league at the very least. The problem there, though, is the starting pitching isn't what they're used to. Nick Music has stepped into a starting role and hasn't quite, stepped it up quite as much as we're used to seeing from their starting rotation in the past. So the strength still is defense and their bullpen, but the offense and the starting pitching is kind of flip-flop roles from the last couple of years.
Switching gears to Indiana State, junior left-hander Sean Manaea, obviously at the top of a lot of pitching categories in the Valley, getting a lot of looks from pro scouts. And I heard from when they played at Missouri State last weekend that there was a lot of folks that were seeing him and Petrie go at it.
Yeah, he's special. I mean, Petrie and he are different in the way that they're built and the way they get things done. They both are bottom line guys because they're almost impossible to beat. But Manaea is a big time pro prospect, big left-hander, big frame, throws hard, has a great move to first. Had a bang up summer in the Cape Cod League, which is always good because there are dozens and dozens of scouts at every single game there. What impresses me about them, though, is beyond Manaea, they have Devin Moore, who has really stepped up from last year. And there's two guys right there that you don't want to face on the weekend, Friday and Saturday. The problem with Indiana State has been, though, they've taken a step back offensively. Unlike Creighton, who's stepped it up offensively, and their starting pitching is not as good, Indiana State's almost the opposite. You've got Robbie Ort, Kobe Kramer, Landon Curry, veterans all, but none of them are hitting higher than 264. So the problem with them has become, how do we score runs for our two stud weekend starters? Only 4.5 runs per game. They're down near the bottom of the valley in offense. That's what's held them back. That's the reason why. Part of the reason why they got swept at Missouri State, and now they're 3-3 in the league because they just haven't been able to find the offense that was there last year.
And we talk about league play getting underway this weekend. There's a couple of interesting series already up on the schedule. Missouri State, Illinois State, and Indiana State at Wichita. Give some of your thoughts on what could happen this weekend in Valley play.
Well, I think that Missouri State, Illinois State series is an interesting one considering what Illinois State has had to deal with off the field. They came to Wichita last weekend with the heavy hearts, obviously, with the Billy Moll's wife, the funeral in the offing. It was on that Monday, so there was a lot of different emotions there, and Wichita State took 2 out of 3. Now that hopefully they can get past that, they don't get any easy touches this weekend, obviously, with Missouri State coming in. So I'll be interested to see how Illinois State responds in that weekend. If they can take 2 out of 3 somehow with Missouri State, they get back in the race and bring the Bears back to the pack. Indiana State, on the other hand, just as I talked about, if they can find some offense, they should have the upper hand in this series against Wichita State simply because Manaea and Devin Moore have been so good. However, Wichita State has always been a pitching and defense school, and that's really no change this year. They've hit a little bit more, but if Cale Elam, who is now a starter, was a closer the last couple of years, and A.J. Ladwig and those guys do what they're supposed to do and just hang around with Devin Moore and Sean Manaea and keep the score close until they can get to the bullpen, then it's anybody's series. So those are the two series that I'm looking forward to, obviously, and how that turns out will shape the rest of the league moving forward.
All right, Shane. Well, it of course will be an interesting run as we make our way to the 2013 Missouri Valley Conference Baseball Championship taking place in Bloomington Normal, Illinois State, the host this year on May 21st through 25th. So, Shane, we'll talk to you again next week.
Enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.